think the important sentence is the one that you're going to. Just read that loudly, the one that talks about the agenda. The agenda of the meeting.
The agenda?
Yeah, just read that out.
The agenda of the meeting will be to consider a detailed status report on the actions that you have taken to address the unresolved issues raised in the Auditor General's report on the financial statements of the County Secretary of Kericho for the financial year 2023-24, and the report of the Auditor General on financial statements on receiver of revenue for financial year 2023-24.
The agenda of the meeting will be to consider a detailed status report on the actions that you've taken to address the unresolved issues raised in the Auditor General's report. Now, when you go down where it says, kindly further take note, maybe you read that paragraph number 2.
The committee further requests that on or before Thursday, 12th of June, you submit a status report on the implementation of the resolution of the Senate of Thursday, 27 March 2025, including evidence and subordinate documentations of the action taken to address the unresolved issues in the Senate reports to the relevant Auditor General Regional Hub Office and the Office of the Clerk of the Senate by email clerk.senate@parliament.go.ke and copy to the email address of the committee.
Okay, I think that's fine. Now, what I want to emphasize is the committee requests that on or before Thursday, 12th of June 2025, you have mentioned that you sent a report to the Auditor General
12th.
On 12th of June
2025.
Yeah. Which report was that? Is it the report that has been described in that particular paragraph?
The two reports here.
Which two reports?
Because we have the responses that the committee had asked us to do, following up on the previous appearance, and also we have now the this other one, which is the financial year under review.
Was it a status report
on the resolution? The status report on the resolution of the Senate of Thursday, 27 March 2025.
You sent that by 12th of June?
12th of June, all of them.
Auditor General?
Thank you, Chair. We want to confirm that the response to the Auditor General's report was received in our office on 12th June 2025. But the status report on implementation of the resolution of Senate was received yesterday via an email in soft copy and hard copy sent to our office yesterday.
Governor?
However, sorry.
Okay, proceed.
The response to the receiver of revenue status report was not sent to us. Thank you.
I think let's first deal with the executive. So what came to you on 12th of June was a response to the findings of the Auditor General.
Chair.
Which were modified by the Senate on 27th of March. Because on 27th of March, this committee took a report to the Senate and said that Kericho, of all the issues that the Auditor General raised, 5 or 6 issues we feel have been resolved to our satisfaction. And the remaining issues should now be addressed in a certain manner. We made recommendations for administrative action, recommendations for investigation by EACC, recommendations for referral to professional bodies, and various other recommendations. So the agenda of the meeting today was not to discuss the report of the Auditor General as at 31st of December. It was to discuss the recommendations of the Senate as at 27th of March. Now, things have happened a bit differently this year. Because this year, we gave you the opportunity to self-report. We gave you an opportunity to write to us through the Office of the Auditor General, and you told us that of all the issues the OAG had flagged, we have resolved a few. Actually, when I look at this report, there are things like variances between financial statements and IFMIS. It was raised in the audit report, but when you did self-reporting, the OAG convinced us that that matter has now been resolved. So it's not supposed to be subject for discussion today. What we were to discuss were the outstanding issues and what you have done to implement what the Senate had done. Now, having clarified that, do you agree with the OAG that that report went to them last night, the one that I've just described?
Honorable Chair, I still want to persuade this committee that on 12th we did send all the reports.
You are able to distinguish between the two, because
Chair.
the OAG tells us that on 12th you responded to the OAG's report, but to the Senate recommendations and resolutions, this is what you responded to on 12th. But there were Senate recommendations and resolutions which came last night. Are we able to, can your team, because perhaps you're not the one who prepared these responses, I think your team should advise you. There's a clear distinction between the two. I want us to establish where we are, as a matter of fact, before I give guidance on how we are proceeding.
Okay, Chair, perhaps I can ask my CC to respond to that one.
CC?
Chair, I want to confirm that yes, we were late in submitting to the Office of the Auditor General the response of the committee recommendations. I want to apologize on that.
CC, you have been in Parliament.
Yes, sir.
Have you been in this kind of committees?
I was in Public Accounts Committee.
What do you say about the recommendations of the Public Accounts Committee? Are they suggestions?
We must take them seriously. Because this was a new format of responding to issues.
Is it a new format, or it is what is expected in the Constitution? Because in the past we have been doing the wrong things.
It is in the Constitution that we should respond
to the recommendations of
Parliament. Parliament, correct.
So, Governor, we agree that what you sent on 12th of June was responses to the OAG.
Yeah.
But today we were to discuss the recommendations of
the committee.
And it would be useful to you, because if we go back to the report of the OAG, we are dealing with all the matters in the original form. But the recommendations of the Senate have been digested, and some matters have been dropped. It's an easier conversation than going back to the original audit report. Now, members, we are in a very untidy situation where the OAG says that they received things last night, things that we are supposed to discuss today, and what was submitted in time is basically what we had already processed before taking our report to the House on 27th of March. Auditor General, what is your advice?
Thank you, Chair. In the review of the responses submitted to the office on 12th June 2025, there were issues which we felt were adequately addressed, but still appeared in the recommendations of the Senate. Maybe we might request if the committee can discuss the issues we have felt that they have been resolved, so that we can have a few issues left for follow-up. Thank you.
What about the receiver of revenue? I've not gotten clarity on whether you have responses on ROR.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Equally, we had responses on ROR on 12th June 2025, which we also reviewed, and out of the 7 issues, only 1 issue was resolved. But we have not received the status report on implementation of the Senate's recommendations. Thank you.
Okay. Gashanja, we had talked about this process, and we have said that we must, even though the CC appears like he's familiar with the audit process, we must reiterate what the process is. and demand compliance. Maybe you might want to explain to the entity what the law says, what the Public Audit Act says, and relevant statutes with regards to this process.
Thank you very much, Chair. For purposes of the committee and this hearing, I'm referring to Section 53(1) of the Public Audit Act, which states as follows: the relevant accounting officer of a state organ or public entity shall, within 3 months after Parliament has considered and made recommendations on audit report, A, take the relevant steps to implement the recommendations of Parliament on the report of the Auditor General, and B, give explanations in writing to Parliament on why the report has not been acted upon. So, Chair, I think for the benefit of the CEC, this is what the Public Auditor requires, that they should respond to and give actions taken on recommendations by Parliament. Chair, Section 2 also gives, Part 2 of that Act also gives sanctions. If your permission, I can read. Failure to comply with the provisions of subsection 1, the accounting officer shall be in contempt of Parliament or County Assembly, and upon determination by Parliament or relevant County Assembly, Parliament or relevant County Assembly may recommend administrative sanctions such as removal as accounting officer, reduction in rank, among others. So, Chair, it is not a new phenomenon as maybe the CEC was indicating. It is what is provided for in the Act, this Act since 2015. So it is a requirement that they must implement and give that evidence in writing as verified by the auditor for the satisfaction of this committee, Chair.
Governor, is there any ambiguity, lack of clarity in that provision?
Chair, my apologies, Chair. You know, I'm a very learned person, and I've just discovered that my CC didn't tell me the truth, and I will take action, and my apologies to this committee.
Are you throwing your CC under the bus?
No, I'm just discovering that I thought we had submitted all of them by 12th, but we have the documents with us, and Chair, we apologize for that.
Learned doesn't apply here. If you are learned governor, you shouldn't have missed the process.
Chair, with your permission, my apologies once again. You say that being learned does not apply here, but holding a PhD is a very serious business in this country. And
yeah, when you are learned, the governor, you should have actually cross-checked with your CEC.
They did confirm to me, but I've just realized where the messed up was.
We must remind Governor that even Senator Mundigi has a PhD.
Chair, what I can say, maybe as an observation, Governor, in future you should attend entry and exit meeting and be able to see management letters so that you are way ahead of your people. Because the governor is the person who has executive powers, unlike even the president. And you have advantage because Mheshimiwa Rob, I thought you served with him. He was the MP. I think in 11, and he served in Public Accounts Committee. So I think, how long have you, Governor? I thought it is unfair because I thought Rob joined you the other day.
Honorable Chair, that's true.
How long has he been in your CC?
Almost now, almost going to a year.
Yeah, so
he's fairly new.
Oh, yeah, so you need to be fair to you. And it's good to see also Mheshimiwa Makerere, your former ODM Secretary General. Although he left office unceremoniously.
He failed to manage goons. So the goons managed him. Yeah, but I think, Governor, with such a team,
yes,
then you should not be having challenges when you come to Parliament because you have people who understand these processes. And as Gashanja has read, there was a part that was saying failure to comply. Then you shall be found to be in contempt of Parliament, and Parliament may recommend. I'm not sure whether we are at that point where we could say that they are contemptuous of Parliament, because I've had some remorse coming from the government. So the question is, what is it that we can practically do today? Because we don't have responses on the recommendations of the Senate, but you have responses on the findings of the Auditor General. What is it that we can do practically in this session? Because the first option is to tell the governor, go home and come back when you have the proper responses. Is there anything useful we can do today?
Yeah, maybe so that the answers both.
Senator Chirag.
And of course, while apologies, parliamentary governor, and I know your CC will tell you that in our standing orders, you know we cannot shoot in the dark. So my proposal, Chair, there are issues in this report that has been resolved between the entity and the Office of the Auditor General. So maybe we can adopt those resolutions, seek further clarification from governor and the team. Then other issues, because OAG is our ears and eyes. We don't want to operate with the monkey principle, hear, see, and say nothing. We expect the OAG to be the ear and eyes so that they authenticate. Because, Governor, this process gives you a second bite to the cherry. So that if there are things that were missed between entry, exit, and management aspect during the year under review, you have the second bite to the cherry where you can clarify. In fact, this is the neutral forum where you can now be able to give us furthermore. So I think, to be fair, because if we are to proceed without the authentication chair of the OAG, we will both be unfair to Parliament, unfair to yourself, and unfair to OAG. So why don't we, Chair, go through what the OAG and the entity have resolved, seek further clarification on those matters. On the case of projects, we can plan to visit Kericho when we'll be visiting Nyamira and any part of the country, especially in Nyanza and South Rift. We can pass through. Those are things that the OAG can still further go and clarify in Kericho when they look at those. So my proposal, the issues that are not addressed and the OAG has not authenticated and looked through it, we can hold it for now. Then, Governor, in July, you can come back. I know it will be a more smaller bit. We can go through. If we are not satisfied, then you can still come back to clarify. Because at the end of the day, Governor, if you don't come back and be able to clarify further issues, we will take a report to the floor of the House. And the House might resolve against you, yet you didn't avail yourself to clarify these issues further. So, Chair, I think, and it is good you have at least the members, former members of Parliament who understand the parliamentary procedure, and congratulate you for, you know, Chair, in conclusion, when you leave politics, it's hard for anybody to give you a job. So we don't take it for granted that you have former members of Parliament who served with us. Najua walikuwa wameumia kabisa. But Chair, anyway, that's a story for another day. But I want to agree, let us go with what we have resolved. And then they can still come back with the yet to be resolved.
Thank you, Senator. You please go on record, Senator Gataya.
Record. Thank you, Chair. My name is Senator Mwenda Gataya. Taraganithi